Welcome to our channel. My name is Nasir Muhammad. In this lesson, I want us to discuss biology form 3. The topic is reproduction in plants and animals. This is a topic that is tested in all the papers, that is paper 1, 2, and 3. It's a topic that students find difficult, and therefore I want us to make it easier and simpler. That you need to know is a definition of reproduction. As a student, you are supposed to know what reproduction means. So this is the process by which mature individuals produce viable offsprings. When you are talking about viable, we mean fertile offspring. Remember, all of us, that is all living organisms, are products of reproduction. Having known the definition, we need to know types of reproduction. We have different types of reproduction based on what happens in each. So when we have sexual reproduction, we have asexual reproduction. So what is it, or what does it involve? So sexual reproduction involves the fission of the male and female gametes to form a zygote during fertilization. So in sexual reproduction is whereby we have the male and the female gametes coming together in a process called fertilization, and the end product becomes a zygote. So the male and the female gametes come together in a process called fertilization to form zygote. That's now what is known as sexual reproduction. Now, the illustration for sexual reproduction, how do you illustrate it? So you see here we have the male gametes. These are the male gametes. When you're talking about male gametes, we are talking about sperms. Like for human beings, you have the sperms here. So the male gametes come, and then here you have the female gametes. So both of them, they join. You see, this is the the product of joinment of the male and the female gametes. So once they join, they form what we call a zygote. So that zygote now undergoes millions of division. It undergoes cell division. We'll come to discuss what cell division is in our next slides. Now, once that division occurs, then in plants now, you will get an embryo, and this is how an embryo of a plant looks like. We'll be talking about what an embryo is and so on. And then for animals, this is the embryo that we get. So this embryo develops to an adult living organism. So in this slide, we have known the definition of reproduction. We have talked about types of reproduction, which is mainly that is types of reproduction, of which we have talked about sexual reproduction and what it involves, and then the illustration of sexual reproduction. So in our next slide, we will talk about asexual reproduction. Is whereby gametes are not involved. Instead, what happens is that parts of the mature organism may develop into new individuals. So mature organisms will break down to form new individuals. Now, how does the asexual reproduction, so general representation of asexual reproduction, here now we have one cell. This is one cell. This one cell divides into two new cells. So the division now begins at the nucleus. We will come to where cell division occurs. So here we have the nucleus being divided, and then after that is being followed by the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm proceeds. Then that division now will lead to two other cells. That is two daughter cells that will have same number of chromosomes as the parent cell. Now you have importance of reproduction. When you have procreation, procreation is whereby we have the continuity of species, such that these species, they don't become extinct. We have continuity of species. So reproduction maintains continuity of species. Another importance of reproduction is quality improvement. Quality improvement. That is, it improves the quality of the species through mixing of genetic materials that leads to variation among individuals in species. And then another one is it increases species population. So due to reproduction, the population of species in a particular habitat will increase, and therefore this one will facilitate colonization of new habitats. Reproduction. So we have procreation, we also have quality improvement, and then you have increases species population, and hence facilitates colonization of new habitats. Now in our next slide we will see cell division. So we'll talk about cell division here. So cell division, what does it mean? As the name suggests, here is whereby cells will divide into millions of other cells. So cell division usually starts with the division of the nucleus. So that's now a point to note, that cell division usually starts with the nucleus. So a division of a cell begins with the nucleus. And what do we mean when we are talking about the division of the nucleus? We mean chromosomes. Why are we talking about that? Because chromosomes are found within the nucleus. So once now the chromosomes divide, then the next process of cell division is the cytoplasm divides. So what are chromosomes? These are now the chromosomes. These are the red-like structures that are found within the nucleus of both plants and animal cells, whereby each cell in our body has a fixed number of chromosomes. Like another sperm is a cell, so it has a given number, or it has a fixed number of chromosomes, whereby each chromosome is made up of two parallel strands. This is one parallel strand, and this is another parallel strand. So both, when they are joined, they become a chromosome. So there is a point at which both strands join. That point we call it centromere. So centromere is the join point of two chromatids in a chromosome. What is a chromatid? Chromatid is one parallel strand of a chromosome. So each chromosome is made up of two parallel strands. Therefore, one parallel strand becomes chromatid. Two parallel strands become chromatids. So this one alone is a chromatid, while this one also becomes a chromatid. So both of them join, they become chromatids. Now where two chromatids join, we call it centromere. So in summary, a chromosome is a thread-like structure whereby it is made up of two parallel strands called chromatids, and these chromatids, they join at centromere. So we'll talk about, or we'll discuss what do we have within the chromosomes and what happens there, and so on in our next slide. So chromosomes, they are usually present in the nucleus all the time, but they become visible under a microscope during cell division. What does that mean? You cannot see chromosomes with your naked eyes. You require an electron microscope, that is during cell division. So in body cells, chromosomes, they occur in pairs. In body cells, chromosomes occur in pairs, whereby each pair has a characteristic length. And therefore, these members, we call them homologous chromosomes. We call them homologous chromosomes. Homo means same. So homologous chromosomes, what are they? Homologous chromosomes, these are chromosomes that are alike in appearance. That is, they are same. But what brings their difference is what? Their genetic composition. So homologous chromosomes, in summary, these are chromosomes that are alike in appearance, but they have they have a different genetic composition. Homologous chromosomes, these are chromosomes that are alike in appearance but have different genetic composition. Now, what happens during sexual reproduction is that each parent contributes to one of the chromosomes from a homologous pair. Like now in a sperm, we have X and Y chromosomes, while in an ovum, we have XX chromosome. So during sexual reproduction, what will happen? The sperm will give out X chromosome, while let us say the sperm gives out X chromosome, and then the ovum gives X chromosome. So XX, they will lead to a girl. Sperm Y, it gives Y chromosome. The ovum gives X chromosome, XY chromosome. It will lead to a boy. So that's not what we mean when you're talking about during sexual reproduction, each parent contributing one of the chromosome from a homologous pair. Now, along the length of a chromosome, what do you have? Having known what a chromosome is, then what do you have within the chromosome? Or what is the need to discuss chromosome? Is because of these structures that are called genes. So within a chromosome, you have genes. Now, what are genes? Genes are the ones that determine your skin color. Let us say you are brown in color. So there are genes that determine that brownness. Or you are tall. So what determines that tallness, that height, or that shortness is what we call genes. So now, having discussed the cell division and chromosomes, chromatids, centromere, genes, DNA, now we need to know types of cell division. We need to know types of cell division. So generally, we have two types of cell division. Generally, we have two types of cell division. So one, we have mitosis. The other one, we call it meiosis. We'll come to it. So what is mitosis? We need to know the definition of mitosis, importance of mitosis, and stages of mitosis, and where does it occur. So mitosis, this is a type of cell division in which the cell divides into two daughter cells. So that is the key word. Mitosis is a type of cell division in which a cell divides into two daughter cells, whereby each cell being divided has the same number of chromosomes as the parent cell. So in summary, mitosis is a type of cell division in which the cell divides into two daughter cells, each having the same number of chromosomes as the parent cell. Now note that mitosis ensures that every body cell contains the same number of genes as the parent cell. Why is it so? It is so because we say that mitosis is a type of cell division that involves the division of a cell into two daughter cells, and each daughter cell has the same number of chromosomes as the parent cell. Now, where does mitosis occur? Where does it occur? It occurs in somatic cells. When you are talking about somatic cells, we are talking about body cells. We are talking about body cells. So somatic means body cells. Now, because mitosis is a process, is a long and complicated process, and complex process, then it has to involve some stages or some phases or some series. Therefore, mitosis involves a series of stages which are, this is another series in a hierarchy order. We have the interphase. We have the interphase. So we have the interphase. That's the first stage. We have the interphase. A phase means stage. Then we have the prophase. We have the prophase. That's another second stage. Then we have the metaphase. We have the metaphase, and then the fourth stage we call it anaphase. We call it anaphase. Don't worry about anaphase. Phase means stage, and then we have telophase. So, learners, how many phases do you have? We have interphase. So we have interphase. We have prophase. We have metaphase. We have anaphase, and then we have telophase. So the hierarchy is very, very important. Inter comes first, followed by prophase, followed by metaphase, anaphase, and then the final stage is what? Is telophase. So what do you need to know? In each stage you need to know what occurs there. What type of cell division, what division of cell occurs there, or what each phase involves. So let us begin with the interface. We begin with the interface. So within the interface, during interface stage, these are the activities that occur. One, we have multiplication of genetic materials. We have multiplication of genetic materials. What does it mean? It means addition of genetic materials. Why is it so? So that the daughter cells will have the same number of chromosomes as the parent cell. Remember we said that mitosis involves the division of a cell into two daughter cells, so that each daughter cell should have the same number of chromosomes as the parent cell. So interface involves multiplication of genetic materials. Another activity that occurs within the interface or during interface stage is synthesis of new cell organelles. What does the word synthesis means? Synthesis means production of new cell organelles. These cell organelles, they include Golgi apparatus, you have the centrioles, you have the mitochondria, and then you have the ribosomes. Another activity that occurs during interface stage is buildup of enough energy stores in the form of ATP. ATP means adenosine triphosphate. What is the reason for that? To drive the cell through the entire process of cell division. What does this one mean? It means for synthesis of new cell organelles to occur, an energy is required. For multiplication of genetic materials to occur, an energy is required. Therefore, within the interface, there must be a storage of energy, right? So that these processes are made possible. So these are now the three So now these are now the three main activities that occur during interface stage. So these are now the three activities that occur during interface stage. That's multiplication of genetic materials, synthesis of new cell organelles, then storage of energy for the process to be possible. So this is now an illustration of an animal cell at an interface stage. You see here you have the nuclear membrane. Within the nuclear membrane you have the nucleus here. You have the centrioles. So now this is the an animal cell at an interface stage. So you see here we have the nuclear membrane. So here is the nuclear membrane. This is the nuclear membrane that is here. This one is what we call the nuclear membrane. This one, that's the nuclear membrane. A membrane, it encloses the nucleus. And then here we have the nucleus here. This one now is the nucleus, right? And then here we have the centriole. This is the centriole now, right? This is the centriole. Remember we said that in an interface there is synthesis of new cell organelles like the Golgi apparatus, centrioles, and so on. So this is how a cell at an interface stage looks like. So you say the chromosomes deacon, they shorten, and they become visible. Why do they become visible? Because at this time they are ready to take up what? Stains, right? And these stains are the ones that make up the chromosomes to be visible. You may be asked, why is that the chromosomes during prophase become what? Become visible. They become visible because they are ready to do what? They are ready to take stains. And then the other activity that occurs in a prophase stage is another activity Another activity that occurs during prophase is each chromosome now consists of a pair of chromatids joined at the centromere. Remember we said that chromosomes, they occur in pairs, and these pairs, they are joined at a point called centromere, whereby one pair, we call it chromatid. Pairs become chromatids. So this is now an illustration of a cell during a prophase stage. So you see the centrioles here. They go to the poles. The chromosomes become very visible. Now let us go to the third stage. The third stage now is metaphase. You have the metaphase. So what happens during metaphase stage? The nuclear membrane here becomes what? It becomes invisible. That is, it disappears. Why does it disappear? Remember we said in the prophase stage the nuclear membrane does what? It breaks down. And therefore here the nuclear membrane now becomes, it disappears. And then the spindle fibers, they lengthen, whereby in animal cell they attach to the centrioles at both poles, while the chromosomes, they align themselves at the equator. So that's the key word. So the unique property of this phase is the chromosomes, they align. That is, they what? They arrange themselves at the equator of where? Of the spindle fibers. So let us check it. So you see here the chromosomes here. See the chromosomes? These are the chromosomes. These are now what we call the equator. So they align, they arrange themselves at where? At the equator of the spindle fibers. So these are now the. So you see now these chromosomes, they align themselves at the equator. And then we say the centrioles, they move to the poles. You see these centrioles, pole is to the end here. So you see these centrioles, they move to the poles, while the other one goes to where? To the other pole. So learn us what happens in metaphase stage. You say the nuclear membrane disappears, the spindle fibers lengthen, and the centrioles in animal cell. This is the key word, in animal cell. We are not talking about plant cell. In animal cell, the centrioles, they move to the poles, while chromosomes, they align themselves, that is, they arrange themselves at the equator of where? Of the spindle fibers. Let us go to the fourth stage of mitosis. We have the anaphase now. We have the anaphase. What happens now during anaphase stage is that the chromatids now, they separate at the centromere. Remember, they were joined, right? So they separate now. And once they separate, each one of it, they migrate to the opposite poles. Now this is brought by shortening of the spindle fibers. So shortening of the spindle fibers will lead to the chromatids to separate and move to the opposite poles, as you can see here. You see, these are now the chromosomes. They separate and then they move to the opposite poles. These are now the chromosomes. At the other pole you have what? You have the chromosomes again. You have the chromatids. These are now the chromatids. They have separated, moved to the opposite poles of the cell. Then here now the spindle apparatus, that's the spindle fibers, they begin to disappear. So you see here we don't have spindle fibers. In metaphase they were there, right? Then in animal cells, the cell membrane now begins to do what? To constrict. Now in animal cells, this is very unique again. In animal cells, the cell membrane begins to constrict towards the end of the anaphase. So this is how an illustration of anaphase stage looks like. Now we proceed to the fourth stage. That is the fifth stage, which is telophase. So what happens during telophase stage? The chromatids now collect together at the opposite ends of the spindle. Remember, in anaphase, they have separated and they have moved to the opposite poles. Now here they collect together again. And then the nuclear membrane again forms here, right? The cytoplasm again divides into two, leading to formation of two daughter cells. The chromosomes become less distinct. Less distinct means they are not what? They are not very visible. They become less distinct. Distinct means visible. Therefore, less distinct means less visible. And then in an animal cell, the division of the cytoplasm is by constriction of the cell membrane. But in a plant cell, the cell plate forms within the cytoplasm and it grows to separate cell into two. So you see here now, this is a nuclear membrane. The cell here will divide. The chromosomes again, the chromatids again, they collect, and then they join at opposite poles. And then the cytoplasm divides. One goes to this end, another one goes to this end. We have significance of mitosis. Having talked about mitosis, stages of mitosis, then you need to talk about significance, that is the importance of mitosis. One, it occurs in asexual reproduction. It occurs in asexual reproduction, whereby gametes are not involved. Here we don't have gametes being involved. Instead, a mature organism divides into new organisms. Then mitosis, it also ensures that chromosomal constitution and hence the genetic constitution of the offspring is the same as the parent cell. That is, in a man you have 23 pairs. In Drosophila melanogaster you have 4 pairs. Then growth is due to an increase in the number of cells. Growth is due to an increase in the number of cells within an organism. Now, regeneration of body parts which have been cut off, e.g. tail. So another significance of mitosis is it helps in regeneration of body parts that have been cut, e.g. a tail or lizard. So that's the end of our lesson. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our channel, Mwalimu Hassan channel, for more videos. For those who have been with us, continue following so that you get updated whenever we post videos. Thank you. So that's now what happens during